Hey, fourth grade. Okay, so quickly, we're going to go over the Sounds of Silverware musical experiment that you did over this past week. And I want to kind of go over our questions that we had, what we thought was going to happen, and then what should have happened. Okay, let's get going. Our three questions were: can you hear silverware through a string? If you can hear silverware through a string, what does it sound like? And do sound waves travel differently through a spoon and a fork? We had some predictions. So if you look at our little charts, we have, will you be able to hear silverware through the string? 87.5% of our class thought that yes, you would be able to hear it, but 12.5% thought no, you would hear nothing. Our other question was, do you think the spoon and fork will sound different? We were a little bit more split on this one. 62.5% thought that yes, they will sound different, and 37.5% thought no, it would not. So these are our predictions that we took in our little Google form. These are the charts of those, which is kind of cool to see. All right, so what should have happened? So depending on the size of the spoon and the length of the string, the sound will appear higher like a little bell or lower like a gong. So if you used a big spoon and you used like a thick string, it'll sound lower. But if you used a thin string and a smaller spoon, it'll sound higher like a little bell. The fork should have created a slightly different sound, one that sounds wavy or has a bit of vibrato. Now, we've talked about vibrato before, so it should have had a little bit of a wave sound to it. And it's because the fork has tines, which are the little pokey parts on a fork. They all vibrate differently, whereas the spoon, which is solid and doesn't have the three separate prongs like a fork does. Why does that happen? So, sound moves in a way that is called sound waves. When the ruler hits the silverware, so it hits the spoon or it hits the fork, it creates vibrations, which make sound waves. These sound waves travel up the string and to the ears instead of spreading to the air around you. We call the string a conductor, which is an object that allows sound waves to travel. And because the string is the conductor, only the person with the string to his or her ears will actually hear the bell or the gong sound. Anyone else in the room, so your partner, the person who helped you by actually hitting the spoon or hitting the fork, will only hear a little tiny dink when the ruler hits the spoon. So, answering our questions just to wrap it up, can you hear silverware through a string? Yes, you can. If you can hear it, what does it sound like? Sounds like a bell or a gong, depending on the silverware and type of string that you used. And do sound waves travel differently through a spoon and a fork? They do. A spoon is solid and a fork has tines, those little, I call them the pokey parts. So the vibrations and the sound waves travel differently. I hope that helped answer some of your questions about it, and I hope that you enjoyed doing the experiment. Now, if you haven't done the experiment yet, maybe this will encourage you to do so you could hear the difference between the spoon and the fork. So I hope you enjoy it.